GrayLaw, what's happening? How are you guys?
Good.
We're back.
Today, let's talk about some marriage stuff. Maybe I-751
All right, here we go.
petition. So I-751 is the second marriage application where you have your conditional green card for 2 years. 90 days before the expiration of the 2-year green card, they have to file this I-751. So there's two ways to file this I-751. So you can file it jointly together with your spouse.
Right.
If you're still married.
Right.
If you're separated from the spouse, there is a provision for a waiver
Right.
to file independently, solo, in a waiver petition. What's the difference between the two?
The difference between the two is, in the first instance, it says you're filing jointly. You're going to go on the interview together, and the officer is going to examine your marriage as it stands now, right? And the other
Is there a chance that that joint petition with very good evidence will be approved without an interview?
It's possible. We've seen it happen.
It happens.
It does.
It happens within a 6-month period.
Especially if you've got the box in the closet like
Yes.
I told you. And you submit, evidence this thick, they're gonna be less likely to have a lot of questions.
If you have birth certificates of 3 kids,
Yeah.
6 months,
That's happening.
6 months,
That is
it will be
happening.
approved, trust me.
And then there's something else that's really important to mention. If you miss your window, if your card has expired and you forgot somehow that you needed to file for removal of the conditions.
Or your relationship is shaky.
Right.
That's usually what happens,
If
yeah.
your relationship is on the fence, you don't
Yes,
know if
you
you're
don't
getting
know.
a divorce, you're separated, you don't have the divorce decree yet, and then you get it, or whatever the case may be, you're late, you missed that 90-day window, you can file and ask for a waiver of time and give them the reason why you're late,
Okay.
and they'll still entertain your petition. So don't think
Great.
just because you missed your window that you're out of luck.
Now, is there a possibility, if you're separated and you're filing a divorce, that you file the waiver petition and that's approved without an interview?
That's possible.
But it's rare, right?
It's very rare.
It's very rare. So if you're filing the waiver, they really want to see you, and they really want to interview you, and they really want to determine the fact that your marriage didn't last 2 years or more, that it was a bona fide marriage.
I can only really see that happening where there are kids, where there are a lot of
Right.
evidence that you try to stay together, or unfortunately, if somebody passed away, I can see that happen.
So I think in the waiver petition, a statement from both the
Yes.
petitioner and the beneficiary is important.
If you can
It goes
get
a long way.
Sometimes
If you
people
get it.
It goes a long way. If you can get it, it goes a long way.
Yeah.
And ultimately, the divorce decree is going to be required a year and a half later at the interview.
And I think in that petition that affidavits from family and friends about, I saw them, they were really together, we spent Christmases together, we were all heartbroken over this, we're so sad it didn't work out, that goes a long way.
And I want to go back to what you said, because you spoke about when you're filing your removal of condition I-751, yet you're not divorced, but you're in the process of getting divorced, which is kind of different than what we were talking before, and you were saying, which is correct, that yes, you can still file. However, at the time of your interview, you will have to show your final
Yes.
divorce decree.
Right.
Yes.
So it's good. You may be having problems. The 90 days window is out there. You want to file, but you still don't know where you're standing. It is okay. You can still file.
Yes.
However, you need to make sure that by the time of the interview, you have your final divorce decree with you.
And if you don't have it, worst case scenario is you've shown good faith that you're applying, it's denied, and you file again with the waiver down the line,
Yes,
and
you can.
you've wasted your filing fee, right? But
you
at
can
least
file
you've
again.
you can file again, and you've shown them, hey, I filed, but the divorce didn't come in on time, so now I'm filing again.
Yes.
So, Jennifer, what happens when this I-751 card expires? Can they travel? Can they continue to work? What happens?
So after filing, they get a 1-year receipt that allows them to work and travel for 1 year from the time that you get your receipt notice. However, it is recommended that you get your stamp and your passport if you're planning to travel. And some employments want to see that stamp in your passport, the I-551, saying that you can work and travel, so you don't have any problems, at the airport or a job. So you would make an InfoPass appointment with USCIS to go ahead and get that stamp in your passport, so there's no problems at any time while the case is pending until it is approved.
Okay, and how long do these cases typically take before they have an interview with immigration? How long is in your experience, is it taking?
Well, normally right now, I would say it's taking about a year and a half.
About a year and a half.
And mind
Okay.
you, that receipt that you get is valid for 1 year. So you file your I-751 and you get a receipt that says that automatically your green card has been extended for a year. However, the process of getting the renewed new green card for the 10 years may take more than 1 year. And that's when you have to be really careful to travel, because you can't, basically. And you have to make sure that you get a stamp that extends your original green card for the period of time that you need to travel in order to come back in with no problem.
As long as your case is still pending.
Correct.
You want to make sure that your case is still pending.
Correct.
You get your stamp in your passport, you make an InfoPass appointment with USCIS, you get your stamp in your passport, you have no problems.
And sometimes it's really hard to get an InfoPass appointment, right?
It takes a while, so please plan accordingly about, I would say, a month in advance, because sometimes, depending where you live, it can take up to 2 weeks. During holiday season, you're looking about a month
Crowded.
to 2 months.
Yeah.
So please plan accordingly when you're taking.
Right.
Marissa, have you filed any of these petitions?
Oh, not recently.
Not recently?
I remember all that evidence that
Yeah?
you had to gather, though. And
So
be
what evidence
creative
would you
and
provide?
Life insurance.
Yeah, yeah.
Right now, 401ks, things
Okay.
like that.
A retirement plan, yeah.
Yeah, some things you wouldn't necessarily think of. Lots of pictures, luckily.
Mm-hmm.
With social media these days, it's nice that people do document a lot of those
That's a
things.
great point.
Going places, I
Concerts, traveling.
think concerts,
Text
traveling, and you
messages?
have people, friends, family
Not
that
even nowadays.
that comment on those things. So that could be used.
I've actually heard about
multiple ways.
officers asking to look at people's Facebook pages.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah, they
Yeah,
do.
your
They're
friends-
looking at
your
Facebook
friends-
pages, social media.
Yeah, you're friends
Big.
with your in-laws,
Yes.
and you're friends with your husband's friends. So that's a good thing to have.
Now, here's one final thought. So, the consequences for individuals who believe that, look, I can fake this marriage, I can go in, no problem, it's easy to get the initial conditional green card. Not so bad, because you've maybe only known each other for a year, you've been married for 6 months, so they're going to give you that first green card. Then they do nothing. They have no joint documentation, and they go in to file the removal, and guess what? The officer at the interview finds fraud. That is a big problem. It is a permanent bar. It's called 204C bar, and you cannot get around it. Once you're barred under 204C, it is a permanent bar. You will never get a green card, so we advise.
Not worth it.
Real marriage, it's not worth it.
They know. They know. With all
Only
with
real.
all
Only
with technology
real.
being the way it is, and everybody being linked up the way that they are, systems, etc. I really wouldn't. I just would stay clear from that, because that could get you barred from this country forever.
Permanently. All right, GrayLaw. Well, good to see you guys again. We'll see you in the next episode.
And thank you, guys.
Like and subscribe.